Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly coven summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're
Caffeine and Conjuring, a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
If you haven't already, please read up to chapter 44 so nothing gets spoiled for you. And please keep any discussions or comments in our socials spoiler-free as well, so everyone has a great reading experience.
So last episode we ended off with Selena and Dorian, their chapter where they were playing pool.
Yes.
And it was a very cute chapter. It just felt like a nice little, like a relief from everything. In chapter 29, we're right back into it again. Like, it was just a short little chapter where there was some relief, but now it's just...
If you blink, you'll miss it.
Exactly. So chapter 29, Selena is feeling the pressure of the competition, especially since she now knows Cain is aware of her true identity.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. She easily defeats Varen in a sparring match, but, I mean, what match? Because she literally had it done, finished in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good.
It was so good.
She finally got to, like, let out the beast, and it was amazing.
Yes.
Put that bastard right in his place.
But yeah, she is still feeling like a lot of that frustration of having to hold back a bit. But I'm glad that she did get that little bit of kick. She also says, and this was like the best part. Here's a lesson for you, weapons master. Give me real men to fight, then maybe I'll bother trying. That was amazing. Yeah, she was so quick.
Yeah.
After the test, Selena reflects on her loneliness and the challenges she faces. She wishes Sam was there to help her. It's heartbreaking to see Selena's vulnerability. It makes the victory of what she just had with Varen just a little more meaningful.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we get a little bit of Kaltain again. And she is, of course, scheming. She's trying to get closer to Dorian. Even though she's already involved with Duke Parrington, there's definitely something going on because she's having like these intense headaches. And I don't know, I'm undecided if this is like a magical thing that's happening with her and her headaches or if it's just very mundane, like she's just having headaches. I mean, I get really bad migraines, so maybe she's just having bad migraines. I know she has like a lot of stress and she's like really, she's putting it on herself, I think. But still, there's that thing in the back of my head that's kind of like, maybe it's something a little bit more than just these headaches. Like, it's a little bit more. Because she does go on to say, the lie was easy enough, and it somehow made the pain of her headache ease. Why did that make her headache ease? Her ambition has absolutely no bounds.
Oh, not at all.
No. Like, she is such a fascinating villain. She's beautiful and cunning, but there's also this really deep insecurity, and she's desperate for power. The chapter ends with Kaltain feeling that she succeeded in gaining the Queen's approval. I have a feeling that Parrington is using Kaltain as a puppet just as much as she's using him as a puppet. Because we already know that like she's just using Parrington as that step to get into court. She's just looking to get with Dorian. That's all that she's concerned about.
She wants the crown.
Yeah. So, but I do think that there's some level of Parrington using her as well, and she's not aware of that.
Yeah.
Very interested to see more of her perspective in this.
So, going back a little bit in the chapter, we talked before about how nothing was really spoiled for you about this series other than Sam dying, and then the phrase, so Lorcan did.
Yes.
But I know I've shared pictures that kind of, and like, I don't want to get into too much detail in case you didn't pick up on anything, because I don't want to spoil anything if you pieced a couple things together. But was there anything that you might have highlighted in this chapter that maybe, like, rung a bell to something that you saw before?
What chapter is this?
29.
29.
I know for sure that you've seen this before, because it's something I sent you.
Okay. I don't have anything highlighted.
Okay. So maybe I won't.
What? What was it?
It's nothing too important. It's just a little... I might be finding it just, like, more important now that I know more about it.
Does it have something to do with the amulet?
Yes. Okay, so I'm just gonna say it, because you're probably gonna force me to say it anyways. But when I sent you the drama between the Fairy Loot design for their special edition Throne of Glass books versus the Etsy one, the design had something in it that I made a comment about being wrong. So, like, they copied it, but they made it wrong. And part of that design is kind of mentioned as somewhere in this chapter.
Is it the stag?
It is.
Yeah.
So
I vaguely remember that, but I did not pick up on it.
The Etsy creator had the white stag, the color that it's supposed to be, but then the Fairy Loot just made it like a normal looking stag, like brown stag.
Right.
So, like, they completely ripped the design, but then didn't do it properly. So I was just curious if, like, you remembered that and maybe...
No, my God. That involves using brain power.
Yeah, I'll read the quote there because I do have it highlighted. But
okay. In
the center, this is her talking about the amulet, just having a look at it. In the center stood a stag, magnificent and virile, gazing sideways at Elena, the symbol of the royal house of Terrasen in the kingdom that Brannon, Elena's father, had founded. A reminder that though Elena had become the queen of Ardalan, she still belonged to Terrasen. Like Selena, no matter where Elena went, no matter how far, Terrasen would, in italics, always own a part of her.
So I noticed it more so in, like, these chapters. I don't think I, like, said anything about it the last time that they were brought up, Elena. Is there a reason why her name is so similar to Selena?
I don't think so.
Why would she pick a name that is literally just drops a letter? Elena, Selena. Like, why make it that?
Well, at this point, we don't know if she picked the name or if Arabin picked the name or, like, what happened.
Oh, I mean,
there.
Sarah.
Oh.
Why would she do that to me? I have, like, such blindness when it comes to names, so...
I never, like, in my mind, I didn't look at the two names to be that similar, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like Selena and Elena. I guess I was saying them, like, a little differently in my head, or just didn't like, let it sit too long. So, like, that never stood out to me at all. But this time reading it, I was just like, why? Why are they so similar?
Yeah, this chapter, I don't know, I just really noticed it more so in this chunk of the book than the first chunk.
The last episode, when I was editing it, the amount of times that, like, one of us would say both names in the same time, like, or, like, one of the names, I was just like, who are we talking about? I had to, like, listen to it back and see if we pronounce, like, this, Elena. I was just like, wait,
why did she make it so confusing?
Yeah.
So where do we go in chapter 30?
Oh, yes. So, Selena and Chaol are continuing their training. They're practicing archery. And Chaol starts kind of antagonizing her about not focusing. A little bit of banter there between the two of them, but it's clear they're both on edge with all the murders happening. And things get even more intense when Selena reveals that Cain knows who she really is. She lets Chaol know that she believes it's only Cain who has the knowledge, and the other champions are still in the dark. So I wonder how that's going to play out in the competition. Or, well, I guess you wonder how it's going to play out in the competition. But nothing stays quiet for long around here, because there's news of another body. This time, Varen was murdered. What a shame. What a shame, what a shame.
The poor thing.
Yeah. So, Selena checks out the crime scene with Chaol, and is seriously gruesome. She's noticing some weird things this time, like how it seems the killers sharpened their claws before attacking, because there's no blood in the cuts where the claws were. They're completely clean. So no normal animal or creature would be able to do that clean of a cut. And they make a joke like, oh, if there was another human, the thing is just standing around, cleaning his nails, sharpening his nails.
Yeah.
So at this point, they're starting to realize it doesn't seem like a random animal attack. It's way too organized, and signs point towards another human being involved, and perhaps was on friendly terms with Varen, since he would have seen the other being approach while the torches were lit. So he would have had knowledge that something was coming after him, if it seemed like it was going to be a dire situation. But from what they can see, he must have known them. He must have been okay with being a passerby. They also notice other word marks that were at the scene. So she's fully sure now that everything is connected with the word marks.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no questioning it anymore. So a little later, Dorian shows up at Selena's room, and they're having a deep conversation about music and their past. It's really sweet. Like, I love this part so much.
Yeah. when they have their like little heart to hearts, it's just,
yeah,
I don't know, it's just so wholesome.
Selena even tells him that before she became an assassin, she wanted to be a healer.
That's crazy.
Nothing, yeah, a little opposite end of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
It's hard to picture her as anything other than an assassin. She doesn't give off healer vibes.
No.
At all.
But
except for maybe the puppy.
Yeah, true. But also, we haven't really seen her in that environment.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess everyone has dreams, and hers was she wanted to be a healer.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of dreams, Dorian has some pretty idealistic views on love and marriage. Him and Selena are in this whole debate about it, and it's clear they both have very strong opinions. Wonder if Dorian will ever meet someone who will meet his high standards.
He says he can't stomach the idea of marrying a woman inferior to him in mind and spirit. It would mean the death of my soul. So dramatic. But fair.
He is a little drama queen, and we love it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, while he's looking for that right one that meets his standards, he can still have a little bit of jealousy, which is really starting to show when he notices the ring that was given to her by Chaol. He starts questioning her, asking where she got it. I guess he clearly recognizes it since it was given to the higher-ups at the party.
For sure.
But he's fine with her keeping her secrets for now. But he definitely had that jealousy while he was asking about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can really tell he assumes it's Chaol, and he's immediately like, it should have been me.
Yeah.
I love his jealous side. And at the end of the scene, or at the end of the chapter, we get a little into Selena's head, and she's starting to realize she likes him.
She does.
It's not just like a little, oh, he's cute. Like, she likes him.
Yep. And I think she surprises herself by it. Like, she's just like, oh my God. Like, I think I like him.
Yeah. How could she like a Havilier?
Yeah.
A horror. So, while Dorian's a little bit jealous, Chaol is busy being suspicious about Duke Parrington and Caltaine.
Rightfully so.
Absolutely. He notices Parrington acting a little weird and staring at a black ring on his finger, and his pupils were expanding to the full size of his eye.
Yeah, like, what?
That doesn't seem weird at all.
No, not at all magical.
What could that be about?
Yep.
Definitely seems a little shady, and like you said, magical.
Mm-hmm. This is where another one of my theories are sort of running rampant.
Yeah, something brewing.
Yeah, I am like fully convinced now that it's him and Cain are murdering all of the champions. At the
Parrington and Cain?
Yes, at the behest of the king.
Yeah.
I think it's the king that set two of them up. I think that's where it's coming into it. I think.
Talk to me more about this theory. What do you think their motives are for killing the champions?
I don't know. I don't know yet.
Okay.
Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the king, because the king wants a champion. No. Maybe it does still have something to do with the king, because the king wants a champion. And he's obviously going to want, like, the biggest, baddest.
The biggest, fattest little girl.
Yeah, right? So if it's Cain, because, like, Cain is obviously this big old brute.
And growing by the day. Or
yes,
growing by the
big boy. But, like, so I don't know what they have in it yet. Obviously, if Parrington is in on it, then there's something like you scratch my back, I scratch yours going on. I just don't know what. Unless Parrington is trying to completely take over everything. Everything. Maybe he wants to be self-appointed king. I don't know. But that's what I'm working with right now.
I love hearing all the theories.
In chapter 31, Selena wakes up to find another guest in her room.
Oh.
Although it's not one of our boys.
Aww.
It's Queen Elena. She's just hanging out in her room. But she is there to remind Selena that she must win this competition. And Selena's just like, yeah.
No shit.
Obviously. Her internal, like, her inner dialogue at this part was just kind of like, yeah, I am going to win it for my freedom, not for anything else but my freedom.
Yeah.
But Elena does leave Selena with something useful. She tells Selena, I came here to warn you to keep an eye on your right. Look to your right, you'll find the answers there. I just have books to my right.
Yeah. Books and games.
Yeah.
Nothing ominous about that.
So the next day, the champions face another test. It's a poison identification test. I said this from back in the first, that something was going to come up with poisons, and our little Peller was going to be the key. And I was right. So Selena, she's struggling to identify some of these poisons. She's stuck between a clear liquid that has no smell. It seems like, for all intents and purposes, that it's water. And then there's another that just smells like wine. Yeah. She's kind of, she don't know which one that goes on is the most poisonous and what is the least poisonous. Because we find out that, like, everybody has to drink what they put as the least poison. I mean, there's antidotes there for everything, so it's not life or death, but so it's going to be nasty. Yeah. So she's struggling with these two poisons. And when she looks over at Peller, who's the poison expert that we learned back in whatever chapter, first episode, I believe, he's also looking at those two. And he sort of like looks at her like, watch what I do. And then he puts the water, the liquidy, like the no scent, nothing at the far end, saying that it was the most poisonous. And he puts the wine.
I mean, like, first. Common sense wise too, like, if that were to actually be in your options, why are they going to put just plain water as an option? I know. Like, unless it was to, like really throw you off. Because it could have been all just mind game. I mean, I guess, but yeah, I think my mindset too would be like, no, there's no way that this is just water. And yeah. Yep. It ended up being Wolfsbane, right? I don't remember. I don't recall. So she watches what Peller does, and she does the same thing. She puts the wine the front. That's what she figures she's gonna drink. She's really hoping that Peller's right, and he is. Both her and Peller were the only two winners for this test. Yeah. So it was interesting that Elena's warning, that I think I forgot to mention that he was to her right. So this was, like, her first little, oh my god, like, Elena was right. I looked to my right, and here's Peller showing me how to do this test. Yeah, because initially when Elena said that to her, she, like, looked to her right in her room, and it was the crypt door, right? Like like the tapestry. Yeah. Yeah. So she's like, do I need to go back down there? But then, like, she gets to here, and she's like, well, Peller's to my right. Mm-hmm. Is this what she meant? Look to your right, you'll find the answers there. Yeah. So how many times can I look to my right for the answer before it's no longer to the right? Touche. So, like, I guess technically she cheated the test, but yeah, she's not bothered by it.
mean, she's used to looking out for herself and her allies, and, like, she's not going to let some little rule get in the way of her freedom.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see her forming these connections with, like, some of the other champions, especially the underdogs. Like, I really like her connections with Nox and Peller.
Yeah.
Like, these are some pretty important, I don't know, relationships that she's trying to water, I think.
So that brings us to chapter 32. So we're with Selena and Nemea. Okay, even those two names kind of are pretty close when you say them like that.
Yeah.
So Selena and Nemea they're becoming besties.
Oh, they are.
They're practicing Eelway, and they're having a deep conversation, and Selena's starting to open up a little bit about her worries. She's starting to let those walls come down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to see her forming genuine connections with people. Like, I know you said you like seeing it with the champions, but, like, she's, like, making good friendships, too, outside of it, which is really nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with, like, all the loneliness she's having recently. And
yeah, even just a couple chapters ago when she was talking about, like, Sam.
Yeah.
She even said about how, like, she always imagined that she would have somebody to not necessarily adventure with, but just that right now she feels so lonely.
Yeah.
So it's nice now in this chapter she's not feeling that with Nehemia.
Yeah, absolutely. Nehemia invites Selena to the theater with Queen. Sounds like
Why
party. But Selena kindly declines, and before she can try to tell her in a roundabout way why she can't, Nehemia shakes her head and stops her and says, "We all have our secrets." We do indeed. That phrase in particular, like, we all have our secrets. What secrets you got, girl?
Ma'am, excuse me, what?
So they carry on with their walk around, and they end up in the kennels with Dorian, and Selena gets really protective over a puppy that Dorian was planning to kill, as it doesn't want to bond with the humans. So it's not going to make it as a suitable hunting dog or pet. And Selena's just like, what the fuck do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to kill it? So Dorian obviously agrees to let the puppy live, because it's Selena.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously she's super grateful, and it was such a sweet moment because it kind of showed the softer sides to both of them.
Yeah.
And now we have a little puppy in the mix.
I think Selena is kind of seeing herself in the puppy.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of this, and that's why she's like, we haven't seen the side of Selena where she gets like that super protective over a puppy. You know, like I wouldn't have expected it, but she did. And I think there is that like little bit of, I don't know, just seeing herself.
Yeah. I love it.
It was a really cute scene.
It was. And kind of adding to that, as they're walking back from the castle, Nehemia mentions that she kind of felt a little bit of a connection between Selena and Dorian. And especially that Dorian seems like he is head over heels for her. But Selena insists she'd never fall for a Haviliard. I believe she said, I would rather take my heart out than fall for a Haviliard.
Yeah, it was very dramatic.
Seems like that ship's already leaving the port, honey.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Also, along this little walkabout the grounds, Selena has a creepy encounter with Kane. He's acting extra strange for Kane, and seems to be choking on something, and he has his hands gripped around his neck. She mentions the ring on his hand, and she mentions again that he just seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger every time she sees him. Specifically, every time somebody dies. Ha ha.
Oddly enough.
So Selena's understandably freaked out, and she warns Knox and Peller to stay in their rooms tonight. So, what's going on with Cain?
Oh, I wonder.
I mean, I know what's going on with Cain, but what do you think's going on with Cain?
Oh, at this point, I was already thinking that he's behind it all. He's like somehow getting something from these victims, the murdered champions, and yeah, there's some magic afoot.
So, what you got for chapter 33?
We are back with Caltaine, and she is high as a kite on opium. Again.
Again.
The scene starts out where she, like, Parrington shows up, so she's, like, with her, like, I don't know, her staff, her servants, maids, I don't know what you call them. And, like, she's, like, spraying perfume, trying to get rid of the smell, and, like, she's, like, kind of very rushed out. But she does manage to, like, hide it from him. But she's clearly not thinking straight. And he does tell her that Dorian was talking about her, which sparks Caltaine's jealousy and her ambition. She's very determined to get rid of Selena. She wants Dorian no matter what.
Yeah.
And then we switch back to Selena. She is interrupted from her research by Nehemia, who is clearly distraught. She was supposed to be at this, the theater with the queen, but she shows up now at Selena's room, and she is just, like, tear-stricken. Like, her makeup is a mess. She is just absolutely devastated. And she reveals that Ardalan's army has massacred hundreds. I believe it was, like, 500.
Yeah, 500.
Ilway rebels, including children. So this is this heartbreaking scene. But we get that slap in the face, the realization, the brutality of the king and the suffering that he inflicts on all these innocent people. Yeah. As a reader, we are so focused on what was happening within Selena's world, with the tests, the champions, the murders that are happening within the castle. But now we're getting that big reminder that there's still a lot of shit hitting the fan outside of the castle walls. I find that this chapter was like a stark contrast between the frivolous, self-centered world of the court and then the harsh realities of the war and oppression. Caltaine's scheming seems almost trivial compared to the tragedy that Nehemia and her people are facing. And I think that Selena's fight for freedom is definitely more than just about herself. Yeah. The difference, like the contrast between how the chapter starts out with Caltaine's just... she wants to get rid of Selena because she wants Dorian, to ending with finding out about the rebels and how many innocent lives were taken. It's just right from one end of the spectrum to the other.
So, chapter 34, Selena's curled up by the window, just trying to ignore the stabbing pains in her stomach. Good old Mother Nature's paying her a visit.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time since before she went into Endovier. She mentions that the conditions were so bad that she just didn't get it anymore. So that's all coming back now. She's getting healthier. She's bulking up a little bit. And I laughed at this chapter so much.
I know. Me too.
It starts out, Philippa, her servant, is bringing her some tea to help with the pain. I like seeing Philippa, like, genuinely care about her too.
Yeah.
Like, she's so sweet. She's such a great servant. Their little bond is becoming so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, like, later on in the chapters that we read for tonight, you see a little more of it. She's like, I love her so much. But Philippa's kind of like, okay, she's not so bad after all. Like, she's starting to let her guard down a little bit around Selena. Not being as much of a bitch. She wasn't really a bitch.
Hard ass?
She was definitely, yeah. She's not mothering so much. Or grandmothering would be more like how she was acting.
Yeah.
So after Nehemia told her about the Eelway massacre, she's definitely feeling down and out. Which is understandable. That's a lot to take in. A lot to see your friend go through. And just rehashes a lot of bad memory for her.
Mm-hmm.
like you said, she's starting to realize that this competition is about more than just her own freedom.
Yeah.
There's a whole world out there suffering under this king's rule, and maybe, just maybe, she can help do something about it.
Yeah.
So this is where a little bit of humor comes in, because Chaol shows up to her room, and he's surprisingly sympathetic about the Eelway situation. He even admits that he might have been wrong about Selena. Character development alert!
We love it!
Character development, but he's also not the brightest fish in the ocean.
No. He's totally oblivious to what's going on with Selena right now.
Yeah.
The visual
of
this...
so many times that she's sick, she's not feeling well, and he's just, like, going on with his story or whatever he was saying, and just, like, completely, like, thinking it was just nerves or something, and she's fine, and she can't grasp why she's sick. Proving the point of just how sick she is, she ends up throwing up all over on the floor in front of him, and he seemed like he was ready to confess his undying love or something. Like, he was getting ready to say something, it was just like, oh god, you're really sick. You need to see the nurse. Like, what is wrong? And she's just like, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that time of the month. And like you said, the visual here of him just being like, oh god. And just like stumbles out of the room.
He couldn't get out there fast enough. Like, he just out, gone.
Oh, it was so good.
It was.
Like, the timing here, but Dorian then comes to visit, and he's much more relaxed and acting like an adult.
Yes.
Situation.
Which I think I would have expected it to be the opposite. Like, I did not expect this to go this way.
Yeah, Chaol always gave off the kind of guy that'd be like, oh, well, maybe go see if your maid has anything to help you or something. And Dorian would be like, oh, excuse me.
Exactly.
but seeing Chaol like that, and like, just gone right out of the room, like, so fast. The man probably hasn't moved that fast in a long time.
Probably.
So with Dorian visiting, he's trying to entertain her and make her feel better, and trying to get her to play some cards, and kind of poking fun at her about her trashy romance novels. Mm-hmm. That little bit was really fun to read, too.
Yeah.
He's such a goof. But you're really starting to see how much he cares about her, and he's not afraid to show it anymore.
That's true.
He's making it more publicly known how much he cares.
Ooh.
And so kind of showing more of what Dorian's actually like, and not just the Havillard son. But he opens up about his guilt and frustration about his father's actions. He's really conflicted about his role in all of it, and makes you wonder if he might rebel against his father someday.
Ooh, like, that's totally not being set up here. On a silver platter.
Yeah. I'm just here like, I don't know what's happening. I can't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, we learn that there's a masked ball for the
Yulemans. Yeah. Yulmus? Yulmus.
Yeah, this is Rifthold's Christmas, or I guess their whole world's Christmas celebration. And of course, our girl isn't allowed to go.
Oh, because she can never have any fun.
Apparently the other champions can.
Yeah. Ugh, sick.
Yeah. So the chapter ends with another tender moment between Dorian and Selena. And he calls her beautiful, and then he gives her cheek a kiss. Swoon. Oh, I'm such a Dorian girly.
Like, I appreciate it, but everything in me is still saying, Chaol.
I believe that you will be a Dorian girly before we get to Tower of Dawn.
Okay.
That is my guess.
I have a feeling it's because I'll have no other choice. Don't give anything away.
I didn't think about saying stuff like that could, like, Potentially. Oh.
Chapter 35. Chapter 35. So Chaol is watching Selena and Dorian stroll through the castle gardens, and he's feeling conflicted.
All that green.
Yeah, he's supposed to be guarding them, but he's also starting to trust Selena.
The horror!
So he's realizing that she's more than just a ruthless assassin. She's a survivor who's been through a lot. It's a bit of a turning point for Chaol. I'm curious to see how this newfound trust will affect the relationship. Then we switch back to Selena and Dorian. While they're walking through the castle gardens, they're having a casual chat, and things get interesting when Dorian notices Selena's necklace, the amulet, and he recognizes it. And he's like, have you been robbing our coffers? And so she tries to just mislead him into thinking that, like, it's just a replica. So he explains how he knows, like, why he recognizes this amulet from stories that he had been told as a boy. And so she's, like, really trying to keep it cool, but she's clearly hiding it, that she knows that this is actually Elena's amulet. But I wonder if Dorian is actually putting, like, 2 and 2 together. Because, I don't know, I think he's smart. I think he's smart. So later that night, Selena discovers word marks under her bed. She drops her book, and as she's down underneath her bed, trying to reach her book under her bed, she sees all these word marks.
Okay, I gotta stop you before we get into the word marks, because this gets brought up in so many books and movies. How do you drop a book that you're reading on your bed, and it ends up under your bed to the point you have to crawl under it to get it?
I don't have a clue.
The physics isn't physicking.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because, like, she drops it between, like, her headboard and the wall, maybe? But, like, how is it getting back there?
Like, even in movies, like, it drops off the side of the bed, and then all of a sudden it's, like, halfway under the bed.
They don't bounce. They just flop. Yeah, a door shut somewhere inside her rooms, and Selena jumped, the book flying from her hands. She grabbed the brass candlestick beside her bed, ready to leap off the mattress, but lowered it as Philippa's humming filtered through the doors of her bedroom. She groaned as she climbed out of the warmth of her bed to retrieve her book. And somehow it had fallen under the bed, and Selena knelt upon the icy floor, straining to reach the book. She couldn't feel it anywhere, so she grabbed the candle. She saw the book immediately, tucked against the back wall, but as her fingers grappled onto the cover, a glimmer of candlelight traced a white line across the floor beneath her bed. These are word marks. Word marks. So she does, like she gets water and, like, she, like, tosses it, like, under her bed. She tries to, like, clean it off, because at this point, like, what the fuck is it, right? So she heads to the library to do a bit of research, like she would. But she's interrupted by Nehemia, and this whole scene is very
sketchy,
very weird. Nehemia is acting super suspicious, and reading a book she clearly shouldn't be able to read this. Her common is still very poor. She's still working on it. She has this, like, really thick accent. So, like, Selena knows that this book is above her supposed level of reading common. This whole, like, interaction between her and Nehemia, like, Nehemia even says something to her in common, and Selena's just like, that was really clear. Like, she didn't have, like, her thick accent. It was just very sus.
Yeah, and when she made a point of bringing it up, Nehemia's answer was just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
So Selena observed her face, her lips were pursed, and the princess lifted her chin. I thought you couldn't read at that level yet. And to see Nehemia tuck the book into a crook in her arm, then you're like every ignorant fool in this castle, Lillian.
Ooh. Burn.
Ooh. Shit's gonna get real.
Yeah, so Selena finds a word mark drawing that Nehemia dropped. It's just like a little piece of paper. And she starts to realize that maybe her friend isn't who she seems to be. There's some doubt being planted now in Selena's mind. Like, just when you think you're starting to understand these characters, they go doing something totally unexpected. Like, this just floored me.
Yeah. So, chapter 36 is for all the Dorian girlies out there. So, Selena wakes up on Yulemas morning to a peaceful winter wonderland outside her window, and there's candy!
Big old bag of it.
There's a big old bag of candy on her bed. Who wouldn't love that? Mm. I am very biased to candy. I love candy. She dives right into the candy, making a total mess all over the bed. And clearly, she loves candy as well.
Yes.
So enter Philippa, who kind of looks around and she's like, what in the name of God is going on here?
Yeah.
She's horrified by the sugar explosion in Selena's bedroom, but she can't help but just smile because Selena is so happy. And she even pokes fun at Selena a little bit, saying she looks like a little demon with her crimson-stained teeth.
I love how that was brought up.
Yeah. It's such a sweet little moment that shows the growing bond between them. Mm-hmm. How, like, innocent Selena can still be, even though she's gone through so much trauma, but, like, gets so giddy at candy.
Yeah. She's still just an 18-year-old at heart. Assassin or no.
Yeah. So, then enter Dorian, who has yet another Yulemas gift for Selena. It's the puppy! He's so thoughtful, and he's clearly just smitten with Selena at this point.
Yeah.
But the puppy's terrified of him, which is kind of hilarious. Yeah. Selena, being the animal lover that she is, immediately takes the puppy up under her wing. But, with all this being said, she is in no way okay with an untrained puppy.
Yes.
So, they do spark a deal that while she's training with Chaol, the puppy will be taken to the kennels to be trained as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she was pretty adamant on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they end up having a little playful exchange about the puppy and the candy, and Selena surprises him with a kiss on the cheek. And mentions, like, how soft his skin is. So she's clearly a little smitten as well. Mm-hmm. And, of course, this flusters our little princeling. So, it's definitely a lot brewing between these two. Mm-hmm. So, after Dorian leaves, Selena realizes that Nehemia is going to be at the Yulemas ball. And she's kind of starting to worry that she might be planning something. Mm-hmm. Maybe an attack. She's kind of conflicted on her feelings right now towards her, because they were getting so close, and now she's second-guessing everything.
Yeah. I'd still very much set on Nehemia being, like, I think she's she's researching the word marks for protection. I think she's very much not a bad person. That's my biased thoughts. Because I love Nehemia.
So with all this going on through her head, she decides that she needs to sneak into the ball to protect Dorian and Chaol, even though it goes against all of Chaol's orders.
Oh, he's gonna be so mad.
Oh, what a shame. So the chapter ends with Selena and Chaol heading to the Yulemas temple ceremony. Selena's annoyed with Chaol, as per usual. Yep. For not trusting her, and she's clearly distracted by all of her worries about Nehemia and the ball. So things are going to get a little bit interesting.
Ooh, I wonder what's going to happen at the ball. But first, chapter 37 brings us to she goes to the temple ceremony. She's not in, like, the holiday spirit. She's tired, she's grumpy, still reeling from the encounter with Nehemia in the library. Plus, she's stuck wearing a boring green dress, because Philippa said it was more appropriate for the ceremony for Yulemas. There's nothing fancy about it. And to make matters worse, she falls asleep during the service on Chaol. Awkward. He wakes her up by, like, saying, like, you're drooling on me, like, stop. But when she kind of, like, confronts him...
She notices the color of his
yes,
cheeks,
and she's like,
you were asleep too?
Yeah, so that was pretty cute. I like that. But during the procession of the gods, Selena receives a golden arrow, and she immediately thinks about selling it, classic Selena, because it's not one that can be used. I mean, it's a gold arrow. Yeah. But she reluctantly hands it to Chaol, because she assumes that she's not allowed to have it. However, he just puts it back on her lap and says, I wouldn't want to test the gods. And she just, like, stares at him. And she notes that he looks a little different. Something changed in his face. Is this a bit of softness? Is it fondness that's coming over Chaol's face? It was a very short, small chapter. Not a whole lot happened in that one.
Yeah. The next chapter was a bit of a doozy in terms of size. So, chapter 38. Selena's ready for the ball. She's wearing a stunning white, almost gray gown with plenty of sparkly crystals in the bodice. Mm-hmm. She's looking fabulous. With Philippa's help, Selena manages to sneak out of her rooms and head to the ball, and the guards don't even question her.
Nope, they did a really good job with that.
They planned out this big scene. She was going to rush her out, saying the prince is waiting. And she walks out and he's like, oh, you don't want to be late. I'll walk you. So after she gets to the ball, Dorian immediately spots her when she's at the top of the stairs. Mm-hmm. And he is completely smitten. He watches her with admiration and even calls her beautiful. Mm-hmm. But before he can approach her, Chaol intercepts and pulls her aside.
Uh-oh.
Chaol is furious that Selena disobeyed his orders again and snuck into the ball. He's worried about her safety and the potential consequences of her actions. But in the spirit of Yulemas, Selena manages to calm him down. A little bit of flattery, promise of being a good little girl for him. And Chaol reluctantly kinda agrees to let her stay. So, while the ball is happening, Selena's keeping a very close eye on Nehemia, but nothing seems out of the ordinary. She starts to feel a little bit foolish for suspecting her friend, but she's still a little bit on edge. She's kind of like, why would Nehemia do this? Like, this isn't her. I know her. Mm-hmm. Like, what is wrong with me for thinking this?
I also like this scene when she has mentioned something about, like, wanting to dance, but Chaol is, like, obviously, like, very stone-faced. Like, he is... Like, nobody wants to approach her because he is very much the big bad, like...
Yeah, she makes a comment like, maybe if he would smile, people wouldn't be scared to come up and ask me to dance.
Yeah.
And then he's like, if it were anywhere else, or what was the quote? If it were anywhere else, I would dance with you, or...
It's Parrington that he's kind of...
Oh, if Parrington wasn't here, I would dance with you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So while all this is happening, Dorian's dancing with other women, and Selena's starting to feel a little pang of jealousy. Mm-hmm. Jealousy is like the big theme of the last few chapters.
Very much. There is a lot of jealousy going on between all three of them.
Yeah. So, eventually, Nehemia leaves the ball, but she has a nagging feeling that something's not right. And Chaol notices her concern and tries to get her to open up, but she just kind of brushes them off. Ending the chapter, we get Selena and Chaol having a little bit of an awkward conversation about dancing.
Oh, this is the part.
Chaol admits that he would have danced with Selena if Parrington wasn't there, and Selena is touched by his honesty. But as they're starting to connect, Dorian interrupts and asks Selena to dance, and even though Chaol tries to object, Dorian insists. And who could resist the temptation to dance with Mr. Princeling? Not I.
Nope.
Not Selena.
This part was really cute too, because he even says, like, when he comes up to them first, he's like, why aren't you two dancing? And when he asks Selena, he also asks Chaol if he wants to dance with him. Like, it's this like cute little triangle. Oh, I just love that. So chapter 39, this starts out with Dorian's perspective, and he is just completely swept away with dancing with Selena. He's so smitten and he can't keep his eyes off her, and it's so adorable. He talks about like how she feels in his arms, and it's just So as they're chatting, she asks how he has so much stamina, and he admits that his parents used to punish him with dancing lessons. So this is like an interesting little tidbit of Dorian. Like, it just gives you that like little extra visual of him as a kid. And then Selena, on the other hand, she does seem a bit distracted while she's dancing with him. She keeps glancing around the ballroom. It's like she's looking for someone or something. He's not sure what's going on.
His mind is immediately like, she's looking for Chaol, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't she?
Yep. So they're just like chit-chatting while they're dancing, and he gets this like overwhelming urge to kiss her. But he holds back because he knows that their relationship's complicated. He's a prince, she's an assassin. It's not exactly a fairy tale romance. And meanwhile, Chaol is watching Dorian and Selena dance, and he's feeling jealous. Go figure. He does try to play it cool, but it's obvious he's not happy about the situation, and he even gets into a little argument with another courtier who suggests that Dorian is in love with Selena. He doesn't like this conversation at all. And then we switch over to Caltaine. This chapter feels like it's all over the place with perspectives, because now we're getting Caltaine's, and she is just fuming with rage as she's watching Selena and Dorian dance. And she, again, this is just more fuel to the fire for her wanting to get rid of Selena. Every time that it switches to her perspective, I'm just like, I'm nervous. I'm afraid. Yeah. So the ball is over. Selena's heading back to her room, and she finds Dorian there. And they kiss. They actually kiss. Yeah. It's very clear that there is a strong attraction between them. But Selena pulls away. She's kind of like reminding herself that she cannot get involved with Haviliard. So it's not that they ended on like bad, it wasn't like bad terms or anything. It's just she just kind of like pulls away a little. And then he's obviously left wanting more. But he leaves this with a determination that he has to find a way to be with Selena. He's falling hard, and he's not going to give up easily. And then the last little chapter, the one final perspective change, goes to Chaol. And he's down in the garden, and he's looking up at Selena's room, and he sees her, and she's sort of like dancing around her room. Like she's giddy. And he notices that she's blushing, and he has a feeling. He knows who she's thinking of, and it's not him. The longing. It breaks my heart. My poor Chaol. Oh.
So, that brings us into chapter 40. As you do after Christmas Day, you sleep until 1 p.m.
Naturally.
So she wakes up late in the afternoon, and Dorian's already waiting for her, and Selena's trying to play it cool, but she's clearly flustered. They're so cute. They have a playful conversation about the new puppy, which she finally names Fleetfoot.
Oh, it's so cute.
It's a perfect name, and I love how excited Selena is about the little furball.
Mm-hmm.
And the little comment she makes, like, why Fleetfoot? And she says because he is going to be leaving all your hunting dogs in the dust after everything you said about him.
And she specifies the pure blood, like,
yeah,
or pure breed, pure blood.
Yeah.
I have not been reading Germani smut, I swear. Okay, I lied. Purebred. Purebred.
Dorian apologizes for kissing Selena. He kind of got the feeling that she wasn't into it, but she assures him that she didn't, in fact, mind.
Mm-hmm.
She might have even liked it a little bit.
Just a little.
Dorian is very relieved, and he can't help but tease her a little bit about her reaction.
Yeah, she's like full-fledged, like face in the pillow, like telling him to shut up, leave her alone, like.
But then things get a little more serious when Dorian comments on Selena's scars. He clearly is taken aback by them and says they're awful. When he said that, I was just like, dude, yeah. Shut the fuck up.
I think initially when I read it, I thought the same thing. I thought, like, that's very insensitive for him to say. But, like, it says that he whispered it. So to me, like, after I read it again, I was kind of like, okay, so he's more so, like, sympathizing with her at this point. Like, oh my god. Like, that looks so awful. Like, I can't believe that, you know, they did it.
No, I want, like, no. Like, if it was, I know we're not really talking much about it, but if it was Azrael that said it, he'd be the kind of like, oh, I love your scars. They're beautiful. They show me how much you've gone through. Like, that's what I want to hear.
And
I don't want to hear they're awful.
Okay, fair.
But Selena, she didn't miss a beat. She's like, we all bear scars, Dorian. Mine just happened to be more visible than most.
Mm-hmm.
Take that, you son of a bee.
Yeah.
Still love you, but...
Yeah. That was not the right thing to say.
Switching over to Caltaine and Parrington. Yeehaw. Mm-hmm. He is suspicious of Selena and reveals her true identity to Caltaine.
Ooh. Yep.
Caltaine is like flabbergasted, and now she's even more determined to get rid of her. Like, she wants Selena gone.
Yeah.
Parrington is suggesting that Caltaine should poison Selena during the final duel, and Caltaine agrees to the plan. She is so blinded by her ambition that she's willing to kill for a chance to be with Dorian.
Like, she, at one point in that conversation, I got the vibe that she was kind of backing away a bit because she says, like, I can't kill somebody myself.
Yeah, she had that little bit of worry.
Yeah, like, he's like, no, you're not going to kill her. You're just going to weaken her a bit for the final duel. Like, you know, it's no big deal. And she's just like, oh, okay. Let's go. There was this like, flicker, this moment where I almost thought that she was going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Oh, chapter 41. She's up late researching word marks again. But she's finally found some answers this time. She discovers that the symbols she's been seeing are part of a summoning ritual. This is like scrawled into the margins of this book. And she finds out that it's for a creature called a Ritterak. Ritterak? Is that how you would pronounce that?
That's how I was pronouncing it.
Yeah. So apparently this beast grants the summoner the strength of their victims.
Where have we seen that, Stacey?
It almost sounds like it could be somebody that is getting bigger and bigger every time she sees him. So this is obviously some really dark magic. And it seems impossible since magic is supposed to be gone from this world. But again, maybe the word marks work outside of magic because they are obviously very special. Selena immediately suspects Nehemia. It makes sense given Nehemia's suspicious behavior and her desire to protect Ilway. And she keeps, deterring Selena from looking into these word marks. So I can see how she would be jumping to these conclusions. Yeah. But Selena's also, she's conflicted because she doesn't want to believe that her friend is capable of such things. And, obviously it's relatable to get that feeling of wanting to trust someone even when all evidence points to the contrary. But Selena starts to think that maybe Nehemia is planning rebellion against Ardalin. That would explain why she's been killing the champions to gain their strength and use it against the king. But why target the champions specifically? And, where is she hiding this creature?
Yeah.
So, Selena realizes that the only place in the castle with enough hidden chambers to conceal a creature like that is the network of tunnels beneath the castle, which is behind the tapestry in her room, go figure. So she decides to investigate, even though it means facing unknown dangers. She's so brave. So she ventures down into the tunnel. She's following a trail of footprints. And she hears a man chanting in a strange language. And she discovers it's Cain, kneeling over this, dark void. What the hell? What is Cain doing down there? He's obviously the one that's summoning the Ritterak. Oh, what is she gonna do?
Well, in chapter 42, this is
the last chapter.
It is, and it's quite an intense chapter. A lot happens. So, Selena is witnessing Chaol summon this creature, the Ritterak. This
Cain. You said Chaol. Chaol. I was almost like, what the fuck did I read?
So Selena witnesses Cain summon the creature, the Ritterak. It's terrifying creature with fangs and claws, and he's clearly not from this world. She is understandably terrified, but she grabs that little makeshift knife, and she's ready for anything.
That fucking knife.
Unfortunately, Cain, way too fast, and disarms Selena before she can even blink. He locks her in the chamber with the Ritterak, and it's clear he intends to leave her there to die. He even says that, you weren't supposed to be tonight, but this opportunity is just too perfect to pass.
Yeah.
But Selena, our little badass, manages to escape just as the Ritterak attacks. She makes a run for it. She ends up in Elena's tomb, where she grabs the ancient sworn Damaris just in time, because that Ritterak is hot on her heels. Selena is fighting the Ritterak and manages to kill it with Damaris, but not without getting seriously injured. She's bleeding and weak, but she manages to make it back to her chambers. And just as you think our girl is safe, she collapses. Seems like the Ritterak's bite was poisonous. Nehemia finds her and tries to help. She's using some kind of magic to heal Selena's wound. Nehemia's arms are covered in glowing turquoise word marks. But then Selena blacks out. And that's all we've read for this week.
That's where we had to stop. Oh my god. I have so many questions.
And I have the answers.
God,
but I won't tell you.
Oh, I knew Nehemia was good. I just knew it. And I also knew that she knew more than what she was letting on. Every time that she would bring up that her suspicions towards Nehemia, I was just like, no, that's not what we're supposed to be thinking right now.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see where this goes. All I know is that chapter 43 starts out, Selena opened her eyes.
So how are we feeling? We're 3/4 of the way through. We got 1/4 left.
There's a lot that needs to be answered in this quarter. No, I mean, I know obviously that's not all going to get answered because there's other books in the series, but
it's really good that we're not taking breaks in between, like, finishing a book and starting the next one, because you're just going to want to keep going.
Yeah. Oh my god, I just can't wait to find out what else happens. Yeah. Have we seen the amulet, like, work on anything yet? Or is it still just...
She mentioned that when she was running away from the Ritterak, I think there was a quote where she felt it there, or she felt...
It was, like, warm or something?
Yeah, there was something there about the amulet towards the end.
It was only when the amulet throbbed again that she blinked.
Yeah.
So the amulet is throbbing. I hear that word a lot in different books. So I don't know how to feel about it right now.
I don't like that word for that kind of description.
No. Not even, I was going to say maybe pulsing, but nope, that's still...
Both can be used together for other books.
Oh god, I can't wait to see what happens with Caltaine.
And we're going to have to wait an extra day to record the next one, too.
Yeah.
And it's fun that this is our book club book of the month.
I cannot wait to talk about this, like, in the book club.
Have we brought up book club in this podcast yet?
I don't think we have. I think we may have at the very, like, our episode 0, because we put that little plug in for the book club.
Okay.
But I don't know if we, like, really talked about it much, but, I mean, if there's anybody here now listening, our book club is currently doing Throne of Glass, which is cover to cover. If anybody would like to join it, we will also link that in our Instagram.
It's nice because we're a book club where everyone gets to make a book suggestion, and then we have a vote for everybody. So it's kind of even and fair, even though some people will say that we get way too much fantasy.
There's no such thing.
Can't agree at all.
No, but I mean, it's good too, because if a book gets picked that you're not interested in, you can just sit out for the month. You don't have to participate in it. You could just come back the next month.
Or if you just want to lurk, we're fine with that too.
We like lurkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll link that on our Instagram, which is Caffeine and Conjuring.
So for our next episode, please read chapters 43 to 55 as we finish our journey through the first book in the Throne of Glass series.
And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass. Adventure